All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle two of the most critical and, let's be honest, most confused parts of Scrum, the product backlog and the sprint backlog. Nailing the difference between these two isn't just a minor detail, it's a total game changer for your team. So let's get it right. Just think about your own life for a second. What's the real difference between your big long-term goals, like a 5-year plan, and the to-do list you wrote for today? One's the grand vision, right? The other is what you're doing right now to move toward it. That simple idea? That's everything. It's the key to this whole conversation. Because when you're building a product, mixing those two things up isn't a small slip-up. It's how you end up with teams pulling in a million different directions, goals getting missed, and, well, total chaos. So in this explainer, we're going to make this crystal clear. Okay, let's start at the very beginning with their core purpose. This is really about the what versus the how. One is about what we want to build, the big picture. The other is all about how we're going to build a piece of it, right here, right now. So first up, the product backlog. This thing is the one and only source of truth for everything the product might ever need. And I mean everything. New features, bug fixes, tech debt, wild experiments. It's not just a list. It's a living, breathing strategy for where the product is going. Now, let's flip that on its head and look at the sprint backlog. This is a super focused, high-confidence plan. It's not about the everything of the product. It's about what the team is actually going to get done in this specific sprint to hit a very specific goal. And this is crucial. It's made by the developers for the developers. So if you remember one thing, make it this. The product backlog is your strategy. It's that long-term vision with all the possibilities. The sprint backlog, that's your tactic. It's the short-term, laser-focused plan for this sprint and this sprint only. Strategy versus tactic. Simple as that. And that difference between strategy and tactics leads us right to the next big question. Who's in charge of what? This is where so many teams trip up, so let's make this perfectly clear. Here's a really simple way to think about it. The product owner? They're the strategist. They're focused on the big picture, the vision, the value. And the developers? They are the builders, the ones in the trenches turning that vision into a real working product piece by piece. Now look at this table, because the clarity here is just fantastic. The product owner owns and orders the big product backlog. The developers own the sprint backlog, their plan for the sprint. But that last row, the cannot do column, that's the secret sauce. The product owner can't just shove work into a sprint mid-flight. And the developers can't just decide to reorder the entire product strategy. This separation is what creates focus, empowerment, and ultimately, success. Okay, so different purposes, different owners. It also turns out they have completely different lifespans. One is a long-term thing that evolves over months, while the other literally changes day by day. Let's see how that works. A really healthy product backlog is always emerging. The stuff at the very top for the next sprint or two, it's crystal clear, small, and totally ready to go. But as you scroll down, things get bigger, vaguer. They're just ideas, strategic seeds for months or even quarters down the line. It's constantly shifting as you learn more about your product and your market. The sprint backlog, though, is the total opposite. It's a tactical plan for, say, the next 2 weeks. It gets created on day one, but it is not frozen in time. The developers update it every single day as they learn, hit roadblocks, and find better ways to do things. The plan is always evolving to serve the sprint goal. It's meant to change. And this quote just nails the philosophy behind all of this. It's called empiricism. We're admitting that we can't possibly know everything up front. The plan will change. Real work, the nitty-gritty of it, is discovered as you're doing it. It's not something you can perfectly predict from the start. And that's exactly why both backlogs have to be so flexible. So, knowing the theory is great, but putting it into practice means dodging some common traps. Let's talk about the classic mistakes, the anti-patterns, that can absolutely sabotage a team's progress. First, that big product backlog. The biggest mistake is treating it like a junkyard for every single idea anyone has ever had. A great backlog isn't a wish list. It's a curated, ordered roadmap. If something's just sitting there collecting dust with no clear path to value, all it's doing is creating noise and confusion. Now for the sprint backlog. And this one is huge. Absolutely no one, not a manager, not a stakeholder, not even the product owner, gets to add work to the sprint backlog after the sprint begins. The developers own this plan. You have to protect the sprint from those interruptions. It's the only way to maintain focus and actually hit the goal. And finally, this might be the biggest mistake of them all: running a sprint without a clear sprint goal. Without that North Star to guide them, the sprint backlog is just a random collection of chores. The goal is what gives the work meaning. It answers the question, why are we even doing this? So we've defined them, we've talked about ownership, how they change over time, and what not to do. Now let's put it all together and see how this whole system flows beautifully, from a high-level vision all the way to delivering real, tangible value. I love this quote because it just sums it all up so perfectly. The sprint goal is the why. It's our purpose for the sprint. The product backlog items we select are the what we'll actually build to achieve that purpose. And the tasks on the sprint backlog, that's the how, our detailed plan for making it all happen. Why, what, and how. And right here, you can see that golden thread in action. It all starts with that big strategic vision in the product backlog. From there, we pull out a focused sprint goal. The developers then build their tactical sprint backlog to hit that goal. And the outcome of all that work, a done, valuable piece of the product. It's a clean, direct line from strategy right through to execution. It's beautiful. And let's land on this core idea one last time. This whole system, this entire structure of two different adaptable backlogs, it's all built on this one simple truth. We have to embrace the fact that we don't know everything. We make a plan, but we fully expect to learn and adapt. We aren't trying to predict the future with some perfect, rigid document. We're building a system that lets us discover it along the way. So I'll leave you with this question to take back to your team. Look at how you're using your backlogs. Are you stuck trying to predict the future, building rigid plans that are doomed to fail? Or are you truly set up to discover it, to learn, adapt, and find the best path to creating real value? The answer to that question changes everything.